Madam President.
The Majority Leader.
Madam President, the lesson of the past few years has been that bipartisanship is key to getting things done in the Senate, even in these divided times. A few months ago, bipartisan majorities in both chambers passed an agreement on appropriation top lines for the fiscal year of 2024 and avoided a catastrophic default, which would have been so damaging to America. Since then, Senate appropriators, led by Chair Patty Murray and Vice Chair Susan Collins, have drafted legislation honoring this bipartisan agreement. It took months of work and a lot of compromise, but all 12 appropriation bills have made it through the committee, all of them bipartisan and many with unanimous support. Nobody got everything they wanted, but disagreements did not stymie progress. So again, bipartisanship is getting things done. That's been proven over and over again in recent years. But the reverse is also true. When a small band of senators chooses partisanship over progress, when they mimic the chaos of the House Freedom Caucus, it threatens the good work of this chamber. That's what happened last Thursday, when one senator's objections prevented us from moving forward with the appropriations process. One member, mimicking the House Freedom Caucus, has derailed the Senate and prevented us from considering amendments, including Republican amendments. It's a reminder that in both chambers, a small band of hard-right Republicans are dead set on grinding down the gears of government. For these MAGA Republicans, it's as if gridlock is a virtue and cooperation a crime. I asked this small group of Senate Republicans, what happened to wanting to do appropriation bills regular order? We said we would allow amendments. We have put a minibus on the floor with the cooperation and guidance of Senate Republican appropriators. These stunts by this very small band only serve to undermine regular order in the first place and fly in the face of what our Republican colleagues asked us to do. That is the danger of MAGA extremism. It is incapable of governing. It only produces chaos. It is so bad that last week MAGA extremists in the House prevented even a defense bill, from moving forward. It's a scary pattern we're seeing emerge with some on the hard right. Extremism at all costs, even at the cost of our national defense. I urge my Republican colleagues to resist and reject these hardline attempts to derail the Senate's work. A great majority of senators from both parties want to see us move forward. In the coming days, I'll work with my colleagues on getting the appropriations process back on track so we can finish processing these appropriation bills and get us one step closer to funding the government. Because we all know if the government shuts down, it will hurt millions and millions and millions of Americans who did nothing wrong. The CR, September 30th is only 12 days away. If bipartisanship is allowed to work, we can avoid a government shutdown before then. Sadly, things in the House are not off to a good start. Last night, House GOP members released what they called a deal for a CR, but in reality reads like a hard right screed. Instead of working with Democrats to keep government open, House Republicans want to cut virtually all non-defense spending by a devastating 8%. 8%. 8% cuts to law enforcement, cancer research, and other critical priorities. Not one penny is dedicated to the President's disaster relief request, despite the anguish in so many states. No health extenders are included. No attempt to reauthorize the FAA. And with no Ukraine funding, the proposal is an insult to Ukraine and a gift to Putin. I cannot think of a worse welcome for President Zelensky, who visits us this week, than this House proposal, which ignores Ukraine entirely. Last night's proposal in the House can be boiled down to two words: slapdash, reckless. Slapdash because it's not a serious proposal for avoiding a shutdown, and reckless because if passed, it would cause immense harm to so many priorities that help the American people. Again, this Freedom Caucus wish list is not a serious proposal for avoiding a government shutdown, and if passed, would never have enough votes to make it through the Senate. To his credit, The Speaker knows a shutdown would be a terrible outcome. When I spoke with him in late July, we had a very encouraging conversation about the need for bipartisanship to avoid a shutdown. We both recognized that a bipartisan CR would be the way forward. 2 months later, a bipartisan CR is still the only answer for avoiding a government shutdown. I urge Speaker McCarthy, as well as reasonable House Republicans, to resist the 30 or so extremists within their ranks who seem dead set on provoking a crisis. The House Freedom Caucus cannot be allowed to bully the rest of the House into submission, as hard as they might try. Time is short to finish the job. If both sides embrace bipartisanship, a shutdown will be avoided. If the hard right is given a license to run the show, a shutdown is almost inevitable. It's that simple.